Hey, you fucks. Thanks for, checking out the videos, showing a little bit of support. How about you take it to the next level and show us some love over there on Patreon, huh? Huh? Huh?
Because sometimes when we touch... Wait, that's me. Wait, what? The camera's not on me. What's going on here? What? Anyway, how's it going, everybody? It's Papa Tikyo, and I am showing you footage from Brian, Ramen Adventure, and my... we went out for ramen a long time ago, and one thing I've been doing is that when it's raining, like today, like it is right now, and also I don't have any fucking clean clothes because it keeps raining, and all my clothes are just waiting to get dry. And I don't have a dryer, and there's no coin laundry near me, so I am stuck at home, and which is fine, But yeah, so I'm giving you guys another recording rant. I hope you guys don't mind too much. Yeah. So welcome back to another Papa Tikyo rants. How are you guys doing today? I'm doing all right, man. All things considered, I'm having a Japanese hungover breakfast today, and I don't know if you guys know what that is, but I remember I was so, I've never been really like a coffee kind of guy, even though I drink coffee almost every day now. I didn't start drinking coffee regularly till I quit soda, which was like 3 or 4 years ago, right? So I was never a coffee guy. I was always like, okay, time to crack open a Coca-Cola or something, but I remember, sometimes I would have private lessons at, where I would teach Japanese people one-on-one at cafes. And I remember I had one specifically in the morning near Guisidani, where I used to live. And it was a dotor. It's basically Japan's, shittier, way shittier version of Starbucks, aesthetically and just flavor-wise. But I remember the guy, God, what was his name? Mr. Tamachi or something. He would always buy a hot dog and a coffee, and it was like a mini hot dog too. It was like, I don't even know how they did it. It was like a mini hot dog bun and a hot dog, and then he would have that for coffee each time we had a lesson. And I was like, what the fuck? Who eats a coffee, or like who eats a hot dog with a coffee? That don't make no sense. And anyway, yeah, today I just I just had coffee and a hot dog. This is one of the nice things about living in Kabukicho. There's an African guy named Kenny who has a hot dog truck right outside Golden Guy. And so whenever I go drinking, and he's there, I talk to him for about 20 minutes or so, and it's really good. And yeah, hey, who's that guy? It's not me. And yeah, anyway, I always buy a hot dog or two from him, and he gets these really fat hot dogs from Costco or whatever, and we always just talk about all this different shit. When I lived in Chiba back in the day, all my friends were Africans, so I don't know, it's weird. I feel like a strange kinship to Africans. They were the first foreigners in Japan to treat me really well. I've always had great respect and just a feeling of kinship with those guys. And so yeah, whenever I'm in Golden Guy, I'll get to, a hot dog or two to go, and usually it's because I know I've been drinking. I want something bread, meat, kind of greasy kind of thing for breakfast the next day. And so yeah, I just finished a nice hot dog and a coffee. So thank you, Mr. Kenny from Nigeria. Muchos respetos por flavor. And yeah, hi everybody, welcome back. We're watching the video from Brian, Ramen Adventures, another sexy YouTuber in Japan. And he actually throws a lot of meetup events too. And so if you're ever looking to do some cool stuff where you just pay and he organizes it, you should go check him out. It's kind of unofficial, you have to find it. He doesn't advertise it, but he's a pretty cool guy. Anyway, hi everybody, it's the 4-minute mark, so let me just go and do my advertisement. So, hi, everybody. I don't make any money off this Google AdSense shit because I don't get enough views. Not yet. ... Yet is the key word, right? But, yeah, anyway, this is entirely fan-funded, so big thank you to everybody who super chats, leaves a super comment or super thanks or whatever. or becomes a member on either one of my YouTube channels. It really helps me out. You can do that by pushing the join button, and you just get access to a private part of my Discord, and it's just fun. By the way, hello everybody in the Premiere chat. How you guys doing? Say hi if you're there with me right now. Hi, sons. And yeah, so thank you guys for that. And if you want to go the extra step, you can sign up for Patreon, for my Patreon at patreon.com/TkyoSam. I've got tons of different bonuses there, from like behind the scenes footage to blogs to consultations to Japanese lessons to tours. I mean, like, I've got tons of shit there for you guys. And yeah, feel free to go over there and check it out. And yeah, you're really helping me out. Even if it's $1 or $2, it still goes a long way, the fact that you guys went out of your way to do that stuff. So really appreciate you for that. And yeah, and if you don't want to donate any money or whatever, that's fine too. But help me out, leave a comment, and smash the like button. I like to get at least 50 likes on these. And the comment is, I guess, just like, guys, if you have any book recommendations, it doesn't matter if they're new or old, please write them down in the comment section, and you get bonus points if you can write down the title of the audiobook, and I can find the audiobook version of it on YouTube. So yeah, because today we're talking about books, boys, and it's funny because like in 15 minutes I'm gonna have to pause this recording because I have to I have a call with one of my hot gay sons here in Japan. He's going through some things, and I'm just, texting is so fucking tiring. I don't know why. Like my phone's not that old, but it just feels like with every fucking operating system update or something, like the text, like the keyboard just gets laggier and laggier, and it's so fucking annoying. I don't know why. It's just like I used to be able to go like click, 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 and then now it's just like brrr, like it just lags halfway through typing, and I have so many more like grammar errors and like misspellings because of that. It is chomindokusei. Majimindokse, nandayo kore. Yeah, but anyway. Nandayo kore. Yeah, but yeah, anyway, point is that he's going to call in a little bit, so I'll have to pause this. But yeah, I was thinking like about like how much preparation should I do for this rant before I actually start recording it, because the truth of the matter is I haven't read like a lot of new books. I mean, we're almost like what, like 5-ish, 6-ish months into the new year, and I've read a lot of like kind of comic books, or I've read like little bits and pieces here and there, and we've I've shown off the books during the live streams and stuff, but I thought, well, hey, I could talk about at least the books that I have in front of me right now, the ones that are on my shelf waiting to be read, and I could talk about why I got them and why I wanted to read them, and then also just talk about like what other books do I want to read this year too, and just the joys of reading and all that stuff. And look at that sexy guy. Who's that big guy over there? God, every one of my motorcycle friends give me so much shit because like my bike is so small compared to my body, but you got to remember, like, if you're not going on the highway and you're just riding your motorcycle in town, like, you want a small motorcycle. And also I know for a fact that if I had a stronger motorcycle, a faster one and stuff, I would just be fucking people up, like I would be like going way too fast and driving really aggressively. And yeah, with this it kind of keeps me in check. I can't go too far, I can't go too long, kind of thing. But anyway, yeah, this is, I don't know, that's like that's another thing. Like it's just like having a bunch of like-minded people, or the people that have the same hobbies as you, like that's always a great place to kind of spark a friendship or like spark a romantic relationship kind of thing. Like a lot of Japanese people meet their like spouses, or they meet their girlfriends at work. But there's other people too that just meet them like they'll just meet their significant other, like if they can't go there, they'll go into like a hobby thing, like a hobby group thing or whatever, and then they'll they'll meet the other people that way. Like my buddy Sato in Chiba, he met his wife because they're both into Mini Coopers. You guys remember that shit from like The Italian Job, Mark Wahlberg? You know, like, yeah, they like both love those cars. He has 3 of them. I think last time I talked to him, he has 2 that are broken that he wants to fix, and then he has 3 that work. And I'm like, I don't know the different. I don't know if any of you guys like collecting cars, or you're like car fanatics. Can you just tell me like what cars are you into? Because I know there's at least 2 of you guys that are like Hashira. I'm calling you out, buddy. I know that there's at least 2 of you guys that regularly show up to my live streams that do love Japanese cars, and I know the Mini Coupe isn't a Japanese car, but what is it about like cars that you really like? I mean, like for me, I think of like driving as kind of like cooking, you know, like cooking and driving can be this basic thing, but if you really get into it, you can like super customize it, and then there's like different styles and stuff too. But it's just like for me, like collecting cars always seemed like such an expensive hobby. Like I remember in Initial D they called it what the fuck were they saying when they were talking about drifting? They were like juggling with glass balls or something, or I forgot what it was. But it's just like, yeah, you're doing these heavy fucking like very what do you call it, like you know, very powerful motions with something that can break really easily. That's like it's going to be really expensive to replace. And yeah, I don't know. That's just wow. Like fucking A, right? Fucking A. And it's funny, while I'm talking to you guys here, I'm watching a video in the background. I always watch a video in the background, and recently I've been watching you know, sometimes I'll do like tutorials. I'll watch tutorials of like software, or I'll watch like things on like, you know, AI, or I'll have something in the background, whatever, right? And yeah, but I'm watching this one right now of Kamakura High School Station, train station or whatever, and it's just like this guy's it's like a 4K walking around video, and this guy's just walking around this one area where there's just tons of tourists. And I don't know, it's good and bad, but I mean, it's good that like Japan gets money, and like there's people that are like love that area, and they're like they're going out of their way to see it. And you know, but it's bad because like it's super crowded, and like all these people are just like, you know, like rude Chinese people that are just taking up space. They're fucking like standing in the middle of the fucking sidewalk blocking people and stuff, and it's just annoying. But at the same time, it is good though, because it shows that a lot of people love Slam Dunk, and I didn't even know about that anime, that manga, until I came to Japan, and I didn't give a shit about watching sports animes or something before I came here. And Slam Dunk is like one of the best fucking animes I've ever watched, and the biggest crime to ever happen in Japan was that they never finished that anime. I had to buy the manga to finish it, and boy did that manga end on such a fucking high note. It was so good, so fucking good. But anyway, yeah, guys. So but yeah, like, you know, time to get into the topic, right? Doing the thing. Yeah, you know, right now in front of me I have a bunch of different books. I'm so happy I bought, you know, it's like the little things that you do to like change your environment like around you and stuff that makes like, it is funny how you know, like no matter where I live or what I'm doing, I always like to have things a certain way, you know, like for instance, like if I move into a new place, I've always been a guy who keeps the middle of my room empty, you know. Like if I have any books or anything that I put on shelves, or like my bed or whatever, or furniture, I always put those against the wall, because I want to open up as much space as possible in the middle of the room, you know? I always think people are kind of crazy when they'll just put like a little cabinet or like a fucking bed or like whatever, like in the middle of the room. Like if it's a table, I kind of understand, but I'm like, really? Really? What are you doing? You know, like why? Why are you doing this? But yeah, I mean, like, you know, same thing. It's like if you go anywhere, like, you gotta, even if it's dirty or something, clean it up, you know? If there's clutter, throw it in the trash, get rid of it, kind of thing, you know? But anyway, I mean, like, same thing with, like, this book. Like, I got these book stands, I think you call them. Like, I don't know, they're book desk holders. They're not shelves, but they're these, like, little metal stands. That are, I don't, you know, the ones I bought are black, and I only wanted 2, but they gave me 4 of them for like $10 off of Amazon, and it's great. It just, they used to have these at the, like when I was at ALT or whatever at schools, like they would have these on the teacher shelves and stuff, and, you know, usually they used it to hold up files or textbooks or whatever on the teacher's desks, right? And like for me, it's like if there's something in front of me a lot of the time, then it's harder for me to ignore it, And so like that comes to like doing work or like hey look, Mickey D's, drive through Mickey D's in Japan. Oh God, I don't know. It just comes to like a lot of like I don't know. Like for me, I have all these books, right? And there's comic books, there's regular books too, and I always feel bad because I'm not like reading them and stuff. They're always on my bookshelves, which are behind me or to the side of me, and they're not in front of me all the time. And so at my house, like at my bedroom / living room, I have this awesome kotatsu table, and it's funny because it's raining, or at least I guess the rain kind of cleared up. That happened out of the fucking randomly. But yeah, like I have this kotatsu table I bought when I first moved in here, and it's just a big wide ass floor table. And I put random shit on here originally, right? Like I built these little stands out of cardboard from like old Amazon boxes that I could put like my phones on, so I constantly had like a video playing on each one of those, and it was just like video game footage or whatever. And and then like I put sticky notes on my sticky notes of the calendar, like year or whatever of all this stuff. And and it's like I don't know, it's evolved since I've been here, kind of thing, right? And now like the newest evolution of this table is that I have like stands for my books on the table now. So it's like I have about, I think I'd say 75% of this is manga, and then the rest is random books. And anyway, yeah, let's talk about it today. So I have right now. I have oh fuck, oh damn it, I unplugged. There we go. Am I still recording in the software? Oh God. There we go. Am I still recording? Good. I'm still recording. Cool. Like right now, I've got in front of me, I've got a Japanese. My buddy Isaac gave this to me a long time ago. It's a Dictionary of Intermediate Japanese Grammar, and it's pretty cool. I dig it. It's for me right now, it's just like when you're a translator, or when you're doing just like when you're studying languages in general, it's so much. One thing, I think the biggest thing that people don't tell you about learning another language is that and anybody who is bilingual, if there's anybody listening to this that's bilingual or studying languages now, back me up in the comment section, guys, because I think the biggest thing about learning another language is that you understand so much more than you can recreate. And it's interesting, right? Like you speak it's like 80%, you can understand 80% more than like 20% of what you speak. And so it's like when you're a translator or an interpreter, it's one of those things where it's like you could be well read but not be well spoken, kind of thing, right? And so it's like one of those things where it's like, that's why it's so important when you're doing Anki, or when you are when you're doing Anki, or when you're doing like flashcard reps, that you have to read out the sentence. Like you're not just you're not just like copying it and writing it down. Like you have to read it out loud to get, because like at the end of the day, like language is kind of like kung fu. It's muscle memory, but muscle memory just for your tongue, but also like with your mannerisms and your body language and stuff, right? Like that too. And yeah, with me, it's just like whatchamacallit, it's like speaking like when you practice new words and stuff, it's easier. I remember one of the first one of the first things that one of my Japanese senpai had me do when I was a salaryman here in Japan was that, like, I was like, he's like, did you ever write any business emails? And I was like, well, I can read them, but no, I haven't written a lot. And he's like, okay. And he like just he showed me his inbox of emails and all the stuff that all the emails that he had written up until now or typed out. And he was just like, okay, I want you just to copy these. And I'm like, you mean copy and paste or what? He's like, no, I want you to fucking write these down and write, like, basically just copy this word for word, but I want you to manually type it in for your, like, on your computer. I'm like, why? And he's like, it's muscle memory, dude. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you can already read it and understand it, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, but how many times have you actually typed this kind of shit out or like wrote it yourself? And I'm like, not often. And he's like, yeah, let's, you know, like, he's like, we got to get you. He didn't say muscle memory at the time, but like that's what he was getting at, right? It's like you just gotta, you know, it's a lot easier. Like, I mean, it's the same thing of kung fu, right? Like at the very beginning, you don't freestyle, you don't move around, you copy the, like, you know, the body movements of your master or whatever, you know, and you try to get them as perfectly copied as possible. And then once you get those mastered, you know, like once you get those like under your belt, right, then you could freestyle because you have more of a understanding on how, you know, how the movements work and shit. But you first have to get a feel for it, and you get a feel for it by copying people who already know their shit, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And so, yeah, like because of that now, it's like I can type out a business email and I'm not even thinking about it, you know, because it's like I remember the small things, like the small details. Like, for example, like you write down like des versus you know, de gozaimasen or something, or, you know, like is the guy here or something, like kare ga kyou wa imasu ka, and it's like, no, you don't say imasu ka, you say irashaimasu ka, you know, like, so it's like the little nuances that you pick up over time and stuff just by constantly pumping it out. And you know, so like I do think that like that's one thing that a lot of people get wrong, which when it comes to language study at first, is that you shouldn't just be like just doing active study. You need to do a lot of background input. So that means like you know, a lot of passive input. So that means like just being exposed to Japanese. Like I think if any of you guys are not in Japan, there's plenty of Japanese news channels that are like on YouTube that just stream 24 hours, you know? If you have like an extra old phone lying around or whatever, just fucking plug that into the, you know, like just plug the charger into it full time and then just have Japanese stuff playing in the background, because you're going to see the same fucking characters, the same like written down stuff over and over and over again, and you're going to slowly pick it up even if you don't fucking know it at the beginning. And then when you finally understand, like when you get the, like, you know, when you do like an actual flashcard, or you actually actively sit down and you're like, wait, that's the word, like that's what that means, you're going to be able to just like snap and switch over to that really quickly because you've already been exposed to it. Although I think the same way is, it's like karaoke, right? Like I did I sang a song yesterday at karaoke that like what was it, like Rip Slime, On and Off is the song, and I've never sang that song at karaoke, but I've listened to it probably 1,000+ times already. So it's like I knew the tempo, and so as long as I knew the tempo and I remember the hooks and stuff, then all I got to do is just read it fast and I can match it up in my brain, right? And so I was able to sing that song. I'm going to toot my own horn here. I was able to sing it quite flawlessly, and I mean, to be fair, alcohol was a little bit helping fuel that confidence process, but I mean, same thing afterwards too. I sang Rip Slime's what was it, Sharpshooter, or like Shoot Something, the Gantz theme song, and I always fuck that one up. And last night I was just like ba 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 ba, and I was just like, wow, like I because one thing I do is that like when I'm at home, I have like an old fucking iPod that's just plugged into some speakers, and I'll just have that playing in the background if I'm cooking, or like if I'm out or whatever. I'll just have that playing in my house, so when I come home I got some music playing for the first like 10 or 20 minutes of me being here. It's just nice, you know? And but like, yeah, like Rip Slime, I've got like all of their fucking songs, or at least up until 2010-ish songs. I haven't listened to any of their new stuff as much as their old stuff, but yeah, I mean, like that's the cool thing. Like same thing for like Japanese or whatever, right? You'll like, you know, just you get the whole, you want more mild exposure overall, but then like you want to have some actively focused you know, energy exposure and like actual practice too of that, right? And so you know, I've got this dictionary in front of me. Like, back to the dictionary thing, it's like this dictionary it's full of grammar points that I never use. I understand them, and if somebody said them or I read them, I can understand it, but I don't ever use them. And it's like, when it comes to language, you really want to have your language be like a sword, you know? Oh wait, okay, I'm back. Wow, it's so funny how it's like, to me that was an hour of me being on the phone with somebody, and now I'm back here. But like to you guys, it was like less than a split second that I was gone. It's pretty cool, pretty funny and cool at the same time. But anyway, yeah, guys, I was just, I was on the topic before I had to do that phone call about how it's like language learning should be one of those things where it's like a sword, right? Where it's like you should always be able to sharpen it and make it way easier to cut like really tough things. And the only way that you do that is by constant study. And so by having that, even though like I think my Japanese is fairly high level at the moment, just having that dictionary there where I can just pop that open and like read a couple pages at a time and be like, oh yeah, like hey, that's like a grammar point that I haven't used in a while. I should try to use that more often, or make it a point to use that. And I do that with like whenever I read books in Japanese now. Like, I openly admit I don't understand 100% of like everything that I'm reading. Like, I can get the gist of it, but if you're gonna ask me, like, can you read a full page out loud with like or do you like? Because the cool thing is like if you understand the meaning of kanji, you can understand what it what it's talking about, but. And like if you can read the rest of the sentence, you can guess by context what it is. But with kanji, especially in Japanese, there's there's like multiple readings for one fucking kanji, right? And especially like they have different rules and stuff for when they combine kanji versus if they're separate with each other and stuff. And so that's like been the biggest pain in the ass for me when it comes to reading kanji. But so like when I read a book or I read a comic book, even if there's a word that I understand, like I can understand the meaning of it, but I can't read it out loud, I'll highlight it. And if there's a word that I'm like, oh, I know that word, but I barely ever use that word, I'll highlight it because I just want to make a shit ton of flashcards for like when I can update this shit later, right? And so for me, that's like the fun part. Like I read every day, right? And then like I try to make it. I haven't been doing it until recently, but one of the things I want to try to do is like, in order to have me make more flashcards, I want to be able to like at least take like one day out of the week where I just make I dedicate it to just taking all those highlighted words, putting them on my computer, and just making flashcards out of them, But anyway, yeah, because that was a long way of saying I have a dictionary on my, or it's a grammar dictionary on my table here on my desk. And then I also right next to that, oh hey, there's that sexy guy again. I also have right next to that, this is a kanji dictionary. And, the kanji dictionary for me, in Japan they have two kinds of dictionaries, okay? For all of you guys who didn't know Japan stuff, they have one that's a kanji dictionary where you can, like, basically, like, there's like, what, over like 2,000 plus kanji, right? But when you combine a kanji with another kanji, that might form a completely new word. It's a similar word. Like, I mean, like, they have a ton of different kanji for trees, right? Or like tree cutting or lumber or whatever, right? And so but more than likely those will have one little particle in there that says tree in it. And so like if you're like, oh, like I'm trying to look up forest and oak tree or lumber or something, they'll probably have that in the same area in that kanji dictionary. And so that's how you look stuff up. But then you have the other dictionary, which is just the word dictionary, which it's like you will in fact I need to actually I'm gonna pause this for a second. I want to write that. Oh wait, no, I don't need to pause it, but I'm gonna write that down right now. Do I have a vocabulary dictionary? I don't think I do, or if I did, I don't have one anymore. Yeah, because like that one's fun because if you get a vocab dictionary, then you can just hear a word and then you can look up the way that it's spelled in Japanese, and then you can look up the meaning of the word that way. And you got to think it's like very analog, it's like back in the day kind of shit. And yeah, I gotta, you can buy. Luckily, if you go to like Book Off or anything, you can buy most of these dictionaries for like $2 or $3. I mean, they mass produce this shit, so they got plenty of them. And yeah, and like everyone's like, I'll just use my phone, but I don't know. For me, there's something different about just flipping open a book and just being able to go through the pages. It's just something magical, man. But anyway, yeah, I've got all these other books here too. I think, do I have any other fiction books here? I've got, well, one of the fiction books that I bought recently that I wanna get into. I think I'm gonna read it bit by bit when I go to the toilet from now on, which is Battle Royale. And I don't know, for all of you guys who like Hunger Games, or what other stuff did they steal from Battle Royale? Hunger Games or PUBG or Fortnite or whatever. It's pretty much Battle Royale. Battle Royale is a story about all these 8th graders in a dystopian, like, other dimension Japan, where every year, to kind of scare the people, like, the government gets, they take a random group of 8th graders and they put them somewhere, like somewhere that's isolated, either in like an isolated town or an island or whatever, and then they make them kill each other until only one's left. And they do that every year to, like, kind of spark fear in Japan, that it's like the government can kill you at any point or something. And anyway, yeah, I read the manga. Like, I watched the movie, and the movie's all right. It's not too bad. I mean, like, the movie, I mean, there's parts of the movie where it's really, really bad acting or just really bad storytelling. And luckily, if you read the manga's about 15 or 16 books. I have it on my shelf too. That's one of my, like, to read books that I've got that I still need to go through. I've already read it once, but I want to reread it again. It's been a couple of years since I read it. And yeah, you know, it's like but like, you know, all of this stuff originated from the book, and I never read the book. I don't know. I feel like I read it once, but it's one of those things where it's like, for me, I remember I bought the book, and I feel like I already read it. It's one of those things where it's like Kingdom Hearts, right? Like, I've beaten Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 completely, and I don't remember any of those games. You know, it's the same thing. It's like, I have a feeling that I have read all of Battle Royale again, but it didn't stick with me as much as the manga did or whatever, you know? I think that, like, you know, but on purpose, like, if you want to make memories stronger, you need to associate different senses with it. Like, I remember the Battle Royale manga in particular, because I would always listen to the Bleach soundtrack while I was listening to it, because, like, Bleach has a lot of, like, dreary, dark, like, oh shit, we're all fucked kind of music, and it goes really well with the atmosphere of Battle Royale. I remember fucking being in high school or something when I got the Battle Royale manga, and I would spend $10 on each book, and I had like an iPod, like one of the original iPods or something, and I would be reading this on the bus, and I'd be so excited for a long, like, 40-minute bus ride, because that meant that I could really sit down and focus 100% on reading that book. And yeah, it's good. But anyway, even if I did read Battle Royale before, I don't remember it, so I want to read it again. And now that my Japanese is a higher level than it was before, it should be more fun. I should be able to, like, it will be a better, more fulfilling experience than before, right? And then I've got another book here that one of my buddies gave me a long time ago, called Steal Like an Artist, and that's the only book in English on my little book stand thing right here. And yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's good to read that book over and over again, like once a month, go through it and skim it, because especially if you're creating stuff and you're feeling burnt out or whatever. I mean, like, dude, I do rants, you know, I do these rants, and I do my vlogs, and, like, YouTube is super oversaturated with all this Japan content right now, and that's a topic for another fucking video, later, you know. But yeah, you know, like, it's like, but luckily you guys, like, I don't make like, you know, I don't rely on YouTube for my monthly income, right? So it's like, you know, but ironically, despite when I got maybe like 3 to 4 times more views than I do now per month, I'm making more money just from you guys doing the donations and Patreon every month now, despite getting small views, just because I've got, like, such a hardcore, cool little following on the internet, you know? Like, it is pretty cool that, like, you know, out of all these Japan fucking YouTubers and everything like that, you know, you got me. You got me, and I've got you guys. We've both got each other, guys. Give each other a nice big hug. Hug in the chat. Premiere chat. I'm not live. Well, I mean, this is premiered live, but I'm not. I'm seeing this in the future. Yeah, hey, guys, what's up? It's Papa Teeks. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I just, this is one of those moments where you gotta just have gratitude and be like, look, I get less views, but I justify it by being like, yeah, when I do live streams, people donate sometimes, and it's pretty good, you know. So, yeah, you know, appreciate you guys. It's pretty badass. But anyway, yeah, so I've got that book just to remind me to, like, reread that or skim it every month. So, because sometimes I get burnt out on YouTube, you know? Like, you know, when I came back from LA, I was super excited and, like, super fucking, like, you know, ready to hit the grind and start, you know, pumping out that content and really pumping out, like, highly edited stuff and, you know, making, like, actual content. But since then, it's just kind of like those feelings have kind of fizzled out, and I just want to share. It's turned into, like, instead of making a high production thing, just making, like, more of a raw, regular, regular experience of, like, my life with you guys, and then just introducing you to interesting people that are interesting places or whatever, like, you know, and giving advice or opinions, you know, based on my shit. And but the thing is like, I'm okay with that, though, you know, like, I'm okay with that. I think it's like one of those things where it's like, you don't need to be super famous, you don't need to have a lot of money, but if you just have, like, a creative outlet that you can, you can fuck with whatever you want, like, you know, whenever you want, like, that's like some of the best shit ever. Like, I have YouTube friends that are way big, and they're stuck making the same content they always make, because if they ever try to do something else, it's just like they're like hooked, you know. They've got that addictive part where they've already gotten viral videos and they've gotten, like, a huge paycheck over and over again from YouTube, and they're worried about that, you know, about losing that. So it's like, instead of being creative, they'll just make the same shit over and over again, you know, and it's tough for them. And yeah, you know, it's a thing. But I don't know, I'm happy that, like, it makes me happy that, like, I didn't get to that point where I felt like I would be in, like, a prison, like, in my own little box that I made of creativity wise, you know. So that's cool. I'm grateful for that. But yeah, I have that book there just to remind me for when I do want to get creative, to kind of stir up those feelies again, you know. And that's nice. Also, so I've got, like, a couple other comic book series here that I'm trying to read through. I've got My Home, Afro Tanaka. And Afro Tanaka is a big series that's been going on ever since I came to Japan. It's crazy. Like, it follows the story of this guy named Satoshi. It's so funny because it's like Satoshi. I always use that as a guy's name. Like, you know, I'm like, there's Papa Tetsu, but then there's Satoshi. God damn it, Satoshi. And it's like, dude, my name's Yuichi. And I'm like, God damn it, Satoshi. Because in case you guys didn't know, Satoshi is the name of Ash from Pokemon on the Japanese version. And so it's like, it's a very typical name, kind of like Taro or something. Or like, you know, John or David or something back home in America land. And so, but yeah, the stories about this guy named Satoshi. I think his name's Satoshi. God, I hope that. Wow. I mean, that's the thing, you know. God, I gotta read it. I gotta read it again. It's been a while since I read that, but the whole point is that there's over, like, 6 different series, right, of that series, and they go from this guy being in high school to all the way now where he's married and he has a kid and he's buying his first home. And it's just, it's cool because it's like, while I've grown up in Japan, Afro Tanaka, this character, he's been growing up with me, you know, and it's so interesting because it's just like, you know, when I reread old books of, like, Afro Tanaka, I'm like, wow, like, I feel like I'm seeing old friends. Like, I feel like I'm looking at a scrapbook of me and my old friends, even though I'm not there at all, just because it's like the author, he wrote he writes characters, like, so believable and so chill. And it's like, Satoshi's this dude who grew up in Saitama, and then he moves to Chiba, and then he moves to Tokyo, or he moves to, like, I think it's like Tokyo and then Chiba, or Chiba and then Tokyo, and then you know, like, he has a really bad breakup and then he rebounds with some chick, and then they get married, and then they have a kid. And so, like, the last series before, the My Home, so, like, My Home in Japanese means, like, your first home. And so, like, you know, like the first purchased home that you buy, like your first loan home kind of thing. And yeah, and so, like, but the one before this was Keikon Afro Tanaka. So it's like the series before this was like Tanaka's married, and I can't remember if it's at the end of that or not, where his kid is born. But yeah, it must be. It must be because at the beginning of this one, they're already like moving out of their apartment or whatever. But yeah, it's just it's interesting because it's like, you know, it's weird to have like a story where it's like, I'm not a Japanese guy. I didn't grow up in Japan. Like, you know, I'm and I'm very grateful for that, by the way. As much as I like to kind of complain about America on occasion, I'm still so appreciative that I grew up in America, so it gives me such a different perspective here. Like I saw Oriental Pearl made a video today. She released one where she's interviewing this guy who speaks English, and he's a Japanese guy who speaks English, and his English is good enough that it's obvious that he grew up abroad. Or, you know, like just the way he talks, it doesn't sound like he went to an international school. It's just by the way he talks and like the way that he whatever, right? Like it feels like that guy obviously grew up abroad, and he's like in the whole video is just like him being a homeless guy who speaks like fluent English, who's Japanese. And but the thing is, it's just like you know, like this guy, for some reason though, like he wants to be homeless, you know, like he wants to double down on YouTube or video creation. And I'm like, dude, like for me, I'm like, man, you could easily just go and like you know, because he thinks like the only way to make money for him, or at least from what he said in the video, was for like him to work full time for shit pay. When I'm like, dude, if you're a bilingual Japanese guy, there's so many ways to hustle in Japan. There's so many ways to hustle, but like this guy just like he kind of already like just whatchamacallit, like he's already like he feels defeated, you know, like he's already kind of accepted his shitty negative fate kind of thing. And I mean, like, hey man, like more power to him, like, you know, like he's doing what he wants to do. But it's like, for me, I've done, like, you know, I have camping gear, and I go camping a couple times a year just to remind myself how lucky I am that I have a roof over my head, and how lucky I am to be in a room that I can control the temperature in, you know. Being homeless in Japan during winter or summer, that is such a fucking horrible feeling, you know. And yeah, and it's like, I was just thinking, you know, I typed a comment on there, and I was like, dude, for $300 a month, you know, like if he went and got a part-time job doing Uber Eats or something, and then he just spent like, you know, he could live at Nakano Shimbashi Guest House for less than $300 a month, and then save up money to do a part-time job half that time, and then just do the content creation on the side or whatever. But it's like some people are so stubborn in their ways that they don't want to you know, like they don't want to change it. And I mean, hell, like for all I know, that guy likes being like mobile, you know, like he likes doing his thing. But I'm just saying, like, there's always a smarter, easier, lazier way to get things done when it comes to like everyday life shit, you know. Like you don't need to work a shit job where you get less pay. Like I was doing a live stream where I was talking to people just last week, and one guy came in and he's like, translators get paid shit. And I'm like, okay, this guy's obviously not been translating for a while, or he's been like only one of those in-house full-time translators like at a shit company. And the guy basically confirmed it. I don't know, I forgot your screen name, but if you're watching this rant, yeah, just say hi in the premiere chat, or you know, or fucking whatever, like just say hi in the comment section. But yeah, it's like the guy obviously didn't have as much like translation experience as I did, and and it showed, because the thing is that translation work can pay a lot, but you have to put in the initial effort. You have to grind, you have to hustle, you have to like impress a lot of different people and give a lot of good first impressions, and you got to be willing to have certain months where you don't make a lot of money, and then have other months where you're making a lot of money. But like the whole thing is like they're never gonna just fucking give you these jobs off the bat. You got to find them first. And so when the guy was like, yeah, I worked for this real estate company and they were like really mean to me, and like they were shit pay, and I'm like, dude, you're a bilingual guy who's like healthy in Japan. You've got so many fucking options, dude. Like, don't let whatever this bullshit is stop you from like thinking that you don't have options, because you do. And but like some people are stubborn, man. Like if I was ever like in a position like that, like even though I would hate it, like fuck it, just get a job at a like, you know, some place. I would be smart enough that I could figure it out, right? Like, you know, like I could get a job doing something like construction or whatever, and then I'd move into a guest house and just not be there. I'd just fucking work 5+ days a week just to save as much money as possible, so then I could put like a down payment on moving out or something then, you know? Like, but I would never just like give up like that. And I don't know, man. It's I'm just saying, like, people, you can't just have this defeatist mentality when it comes to shit like that. And so like, why are we talking about this from? We're talking about my home Afro Tanaka. I don't know. I mean, like, the whole thing is, it's just like, you know, you have options, and a lot of people don't realize they have options, and they're just too afraid to give themselves permission to be like, nah, dude, you're awesome. Like, you're awesome. Like, give yourself permission to think that you're awesome and that you are worth money, you know? Because most of the time, people just respect the fact that you got balls enough to fucking own it, you know? Like, you got balls to fucking want to go out and get it, you know? Like, balls and confidence speak more than fucking competence sometimes, you know? It's like Team Rocket, you know? Highly confident, at the same time being equally as if more highly incompetent, you know? And, but anyway, yeah, I don't know. It's fun seeing the My Home Afro Tanaka, because those books are super easy to read, and it's always just been a reminder that it's like, oh yeah, if I was a Japanese guy, this is probably what would end up happening to me if I didn't live in America. Like, if I hadn't come over here as a foreigner and met the people that I met, you know, like, I would just be probably like, you know, just kind of falling into a marriage, falling into a relationship, working like kind of a dead-end job. Like, you know, My Home Afro Tanaka is just about the fucking whatchamacallit. It's just like sometimes simple people just want simple shit, you know? And but it's easy to fall into that stuff and then regret it later. And I don't know, I always like using the Afro Tanaka series as a way to kind of like gauge how I'm doing in life, and if I'm okay with it. And if I'm okay with my life after reading Afro Tanaka, then I know I'm doing all right. So I'm happy that I have these books. I've got 4 brand new ones here that I get to read, and I can't wait to read that. I've got 2 new Gantz series, and I'm missing 1 book. It's going to come in the mail hopefully before Sunday. And it's called Gantz G and Gantz E. I read these standing up when I was at Book Off, but I didn't buy these yet. And I just bought them last week. I was lucky. I found most of them for really cheap, for 100 yen at the Book Off. The whole point is you got to go to the book offs that are outside of Tokyo, and then you'll be able to find these. And they're pretty good. It's pretty good. And but then for the remainder ones, I'm like, okay, fuck this. I'm not going to Book Off again. I want to stay inside this week and just chill. So and just work on YouTube shit. So I'll just order the remaining like 2 or 3 books off of Amazon. So I've got Gantz G, which is unfortunately only 3 books long, and I'm like, fuck. And then I got Gantz E, which is another spin-off series, and that's 6 books long, but I'm missing number 5, so that should be in the mail soon. And then Hiroya Oku, the guy who wrote, or the guy who made the fucking Gantz, he also had a series before Gantz called 01, and I used to have it, but then like, you know, I moved out of my house and I got rid of all my manga, and I scanned all of them, but there's just such a difference between reading a PDF and having a physical book in your hand, and I love that. And so yeah, I ordered and that one's only 3 books long, just like the Gantz G series, so I repurchased those, and I've already got number 3, and number 1 and 2 are going to be in the mail later, so that's cool. And then I've got another manga series called Kujo no Daizumi, which is the big, or what is like Kujo's Big Punishment or whatever. And it's about a criminal lawyer who, he's kind of like a Better Call Saul, but not as funny. And it's about this guy named Kujo and his father. Like, I'm only on book 7. Oh my god, I'm already on book 7. Fuck. There's only been 12 of them released, but it seems like it's an ongoing series. And from what I read in one of the promotion things that it came with, it's made by the same guy who made Yamiki no Ujijima-kun or Ushijima-kun. And that's a whole different manga series about this guy who is a loan shark in Japan. And I only watched the drama of it. They have that on Netflix, but the drama, it just seems very convoluted, very exaggerated, like over-the-top exaggeration. And but I haven't read the manga yet, so maybe if I read the manga, it'll be different. But, you know, it's so funny. Like, when you're younger, I don't know why. It's like when we're younger, we're so much more connected to the pulse of like illegal shit going on. Like how, you know, like what are the illegal drugs going on, or what, you know, whatever, right? Like, how does illegal shit get done? Like, I mean, I wasn't even young, but I wasn't that young. But it's like, even when I was at the guest house, I knew that those, you know, that there were, like, you know, the Uber Eats guys told me that there were like some people that they're drug mules in Tokyo, and what they do is they just, like, somebody orders drugs and then they go pick it up from somewhere outside of Tokyo, and then they bring the drugs to the person. And that's how they sold drugs, and they do it with, like, just putting it in an Uber Eats bag because the cops never check Uber Eats people. And that was going on for years. And like, you know, the cops fucking probably had a few people talk about it, but none of them gave a shit. They didn't look into it. And so it's like, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just like, but now that I'm older and stuff, I feel like I have less of a thumb on the pulse of that shit. And it's interesting to see how crime evolves. You know, when you're getting older, when you're like, I don't really go to clubs, or I don't meet, like, with sketchy people that often. So, you know, it's just like reading these books kind of give you a perspective on all this really sketchy high-level shit that goes on. Like, I'm reading this chapter right now, and there's, like, these, you know, like, it shows that, like, you know, humans, they fall into patterns, right? Like, there's different patterns for certain stuff, right? And it's, you know, when you think about it, like, humans aren't that... I mean, that's the reason why people are afraid of AI, right? It's because humans are just like a higher evolved version of animals. Like, you know, it's just like we're slightly smarter than dogs and stuff, right? And so if you can make like a kind of like a non-biased, emotionally biased fucking machine that's smart, that can hold way more data and predict way more possible patterns than humans, then, like, yeah, then humans just become another animal that is, like, lower on the food chain, you know? And so, like, the same thing with, like, this Cujo series. It's like, you know, this they show all these different things. Like, in the last book, they're showing how for example, like, they show these two people, and, like, it's a couple, and one girl wants to be a singer in Tokyo, and the boyfriend wants to be an actor. And so, you know, but in order to, like, you know, be a full-time actor, full-time actress, they're stupid. They don't save their money. They don't go live in a guest house or something. They just get a regular apartment, and they're living normally, but just, like, being in debt. And then they get in so much debt that they can't get regular debt anymore, so they go to loan sharks. And then those loan sharks make them pay off the money. And, like, so the girl goes and works for, like, Papakatsu, and she becomes, like, kind of a mini pimp where she introduces other starving artists, like women who want to be like actresses or artists that don't mind prostituting themselves, and she becomes like a pimp for them. And then the guy who introduces her to all this stuff, like, really sketchy dude, they end up like renting a school, like an abandoned school in the mountainside somewhere in like countryside. And then, like, they have the women like do a sports day, undokai or whatever, but they're all naked and stuff. It's like something straight out of a porn, but all these guys are like rich, like, company owners and stuff, and they're all naked too, and then they're like doing competitions where they fuck these chicks and stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's a little bit exaggerated, but knowing how fucked up Japanese people are sometimes, I'm like, I could totally see this being a thing, you know? Like, this is probably based on some sketchy ass shit that's happened here before, you know? It's like one of those things where it's like you don't hear about it often, but you could believe it, right? It's like when gangsters what is it, my friend is a park ranger, he sent me a link or something, right? And it's like the link was like gangsters that hang out in Yellowstone or something. And so, like, what would happen is, like, in California or whatever, like, you know, like a gang member or something, he kills another gang member or whatever, right? And they don't have any proof, but like, they hear rumors or something, and the cops are looking for him, and so they'll just go to, like, Yellowstone or someplace like that, and they'll just hang out for months and wait for the shit to cool down, and then they'll go back into town, like, once all that stuff is passed or whatever. And it's like, I don't hear about it that often, but I could believe it, you know, like, that's something where it's like, and like, that's the whole thing. It's like, criminals are always trying to get ahead of the system, right? They're always trying to, like, see what they can get away with based on the lazy bureaucracy of, like, the, you know, the cops, you know? And so it's like, and so it's like, yeah, the cops aren't checking Uber Eats bags, or if they do, they don't give a shit because they're like, oh, it's not my department. And so, like, this even though it's like a manga series, it does give you a little bit of a perspective, right? And, like, they also talked about how, like, criminals love to take advantage of, like, kind of mentally ill, or, like, people that are, like, kind of like learning disabled or something, because they're easy to control, and then they'll use them for, like, drug mules or, like, prostitution or something, right? And I love it how this series doesn't really sugarcoat this stuff, and since it's full of a shit ton of legal jargon, every page there's words. Like, if I read Afro Tanaka maybe 3 times in the whole book, I'll find a word that I don't know or something. But in Kujo no Daizumi, that one, I'm like, every fucking page there's at least 2 or 3 words where I'm like, yep, I gotta make a flashcard out of that. And but I like it though, because that means that it really helps me appreciate the other books, like fucking like Afro Tanaka and stuff. Because, you know, I'm like, wow, like, you know, fucking Cujo, it's like every fucking page there's a new word. But in Afro Tanaka, it's like, oh, God, I only had to highlight 3. Like, I was reading Gigant. That's another book by the guy who made Gantz. And I'm like, I'm reading that, and I'm like, dude, there were only 2 words in this book I didn't know. And, like, and one of them's just a word I knew, I just don't use. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So, like, it's not bad, but I'm like, wow, like, it really does. Like, you know, when I'm not translating, when I'm not getting paid to study Japanese, I still take the time to study Japanese, because it's like, I was talking to a YouTube viewer of mine last night that I went and got some drinks with, and he was saying how he's like, I don't do flashcards anymore, I just read. And I'm like, that's good. I mean, to be fair, all I do right now is read, you know, for the most part. But the thing is that, like, I've done thousands plus of hours of just flashcard making and flashcard reviewing, and even though I don't really do flashcards that often, you know, what am I saying to this guy? Why am I on the side of this guy's car? I'm like, yeah, that guy fucks. I don't know, whatever. What did I say? I don't know. Was I yelling at that guy? What's going on? Anyway, yeah, I don't know. The point is just like, what the hell was the point I'm getting at? Something Israel? I don't know. And that's my thoughts on Israel. No, it's just, what the hell was the point I was getting at? I don't know. Oh, yeah, just, like, translating stuff. Like, the cool thing is that, like, when you expose yourself to this harder stuff, it makes you appreciate the other stuff, but you need to actively actually learn the words, too. Like, you got to actively make flashcards. And that's what my subscriber didn't understand. He was getting better at reading, but at the same time, like, it's great to have, like, a bunch of exposure. Like, I read Gantz, and Gantz is a book for high school kids, and I read that when I was at very 0 level Japanese, but I loved it so much I got into it. And if I had tried to do, if I had tried to be doing word binding when I first did that, oh man, I would have just gotten burnt out too quickly, because, like, every fucking other word would have been a hard word I didn't understand. And that's why it's really important when you're starting to do your Japanese word mining after finishing your Heisig flashcards, is that you just get them simple sentences from online. I suggest going to gshow.org or Weblio. Yeah, Cracky, I said that. What, you want to fight about it? Yeah, Cracky's another translator friend who's a creator online, and he was like, no, you need to pay for dictionaries. I'm like, no, Cracky, you're wrong. You go to gshow.org or you go to Weblio, especially if you're just going there for your first 5,000 sentences. Go there, get that stuff, and make your flashcards from there. And then once you get more comfortable with reading, then you can start word mining from books, because it's going to be a lot faster because you're used to reading it faster and stuff. So, yeah, anyway, I don't know. It's funny because I only got through like half of these books. I still have a bunch of other manga and a bunch of other books to go through. So, yeah, guys, do me a favor. If you fucking like this series, do you want me to like talk more about this? Because I do. It's one of those things that I am passionate about it, and I don't know a lot about it, but I'm passionate about it. And I'm a very big what do you call it, endorser, or whatever you want to say. I highly want to push reading and just knowledge acquisition through word absorption through the eyes and the mind. I want to endorse that more and push that more on you guys. So if you want to hear more, me talking, like if you want a part 2 of this or whatever, let me know in the comments section. I see you guys in the premiere. I can see it in the future mind, third eye or whatever. I see you guys be like, yeah, make more. That's great. Show me you actually care, and refresh the page after this is done, and then write that down in a comment, okay? Just say, yes, we want more, just to show me that you care. That's the secret comment of the day. Just if you made it this far, just write, refresh the page or whatever if you're in the premiere, and write down, we want more sausage. Yeah, just write that down and say, we want more sausage, Dad. And just do that, and people won't understand, and it'll be funny. And did you smash the like button? Did you go out of your way to smash the like button? I know you did, because you're a very sexy man, and we're all about helping each other out here. So, yeah, anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching this and sticking with me for this. And I promise I'm going to be doing more walking and actual bike rants coming up. But for right now, I'm just trying to create a backlog of all this stuff. So, and if there's any other topics that you'd like me to cover from my Tkyorants, let me know in the comments section below, and we're gonna do a live stream right after this. So the live stream link should be in the chat right now, and if you're watching this while it's not a premiere, it should be one of the top comments, so you can go over there and see what the live stream was like after that. I do a live stream after each upload to promote the upload. So yeah, anyway, thank you guys so much for all of this, and I love your faces. I'll see you on the next one. Stay black, sons. Yeah, buddy.